Hey guys, thanks so much for coming back to the channel and for checking out this video. And also thank you for all of your responses and your input into this whole situation that's been going on surrounding Monsta X and Wonho and his accusers. So we're just gonna, as promised, give you guys an update on the things that we found out about why Wonho left, about his accusers and what they have to say. And we're also gonna throw in, of course, our 2 cents, what we think of this whole situation, and some details about some of the conspiracies that have been flying around surrounding the situation. It looks like, the rabbit hole is deep. What is the true purpose of K-pop idols? We're going to get into that. And also, was Wano's situation used as a distraction? So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification, and we're going to get right into it. Here we go. On November 1st, Starship Entertainment shared this statement. In relationship with this case, the judgment has been made that we can no longer maintain our contract with Wonho and terminated our contract with Wonho as of November 1st, 2019. The reason behind his departure at this time appears to be rumors and allegations of underage driving, marijuana use, juvenile detention time, and also unpaid debt to a former roommate called Jung Daeun.
We just want to get into a little bit of our opinion on the industry over there in South Korea, in contrast, really, to over here in the West. And one thing that really was highlighted to us was the way that it was really sad how sometimes in the K-pop industry, a whisper of an accusation can really galvanize enough public outrage to the point where it can end an idol's career. Without really waiting for any investigations to be undergone or anything like that. It's really so easy that somebody's public image can be so destroyed. Over here, it's not that easy. It's not like we don't have a cancel culture, but as you can probably know already, like if you're already here in the West, if you already know anything about our media sphere, you already know that people can so easily come back from cancellations. People can just, say kind of whack apology and come back at any time. Sometimes it's serious enough to kind of completely end their career, but it's not very likely, unless it's something like really, really serious. But even if you look at the Harvey Weinstein situation, which is much worse, it's not to compare it to drug use, but Harvey Weinstein, people like Kevin Spacey, people like R. Kelly. R. Kelly's album sales actually increased after the
Oh my god.
accusations. Yes, and Kevin Spacey, his charges were dropped the other day. Now, R. Kelly, I think, is having it the hardest. I don't think he can come back. But Kevin Spacey, who knows? We might see him again. Harvey Weinstein has had a lot of the cases dropped from his allegations, which are sexual. They're not. It's not to say that they're it's the same sphere of behavior, but it's just really, really interesting. Another thing is that over here, drug use is so normalized. Like, this story would not make news over here that somebody consumed any drugs or partook in any drugs. It's all over our music sphere. People are in the studio recording about how they're drinking lean and saying some bars from their rap songs. People are over here, saying how they're popping pills. So it's really, really interesting how, like, over here it's a non-fact. It's really a non-factor. Something like weed is it's not even the worst drug that we know that some of our celebrities over here are doing. But I do understand there's such a difference. It just really highlights this difference for us. This complete contrast in public image. But another thing is that we really wish that these kinds of stories like Wonho's, where you saw him heading towards a life path that probably wasn't the best. He went down a road, unfortunately, that was troubled. He was, as a kid and as a teen, but he was able to come out of that and work really hard to discipline himself, to become a valued, great member of this K-pop group. We wish that these kinds of stories would be more accepted in Korea as inspirational ones that other people could look to and see within their own lives that one mistake that they've made in the past doesn't destroy their entire life. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not the same, but
Yeah, to add to that, it's interesting because over here in the West, we actually really love a good underdog story. We love the story of someone who came from nothing and worked their way up into being something great and successful. And we do see that as encouraging for ourselves, for our own lives, and inspirational. And it's even more so when people are not even just they're not even just underdogs. They've literally taken like the wrong, quote, the wrong path in life. And then they flip their lives around and they become a great success. I wish that counted for something in Korea. He's had at least 7 years of just being just a hardworking, straight by the books sort of individual. And it's really sad how everything was taken away from him just because of something he did as a teenager. Like, can people not learn and grow? Is that not okay? I don't mean to be offensive, but it does seem that way. Like it's not allowed. Mm-hmm. You just have to stay, being punished for the rest of your life. It's a lot.
But the fact is, his crimes were very much self-destructive. So the only person he was really hurting was his own self. We really wanted to emphasize here that the crimes that Wonho committed were more so self-destructive. It's not like he committed some kind of assault or anything like that. Mostly what he's done has been self-destructive, and he managed to transmute that energy and turn into a really upstanding person. So in no way are we relating it to physically harming other people. I believe those kinds of people really should be, we both believe that those kind of people should be canceled. And so, I mean, it's really two extremes that we're seeing here. On the one hand, over in the East and over here in the West. But, yeah, we'll continue on with a few other facts for you guys.
So one of Wonho's two accusers, Jung Dae-eun, actually sat down with Dispatch for an interview recently where she claimed that Wonho offered her marijuana back in 2013 and they smoked together at her home, where another person, a former manager for the Burning Sun, was in her home without their knowledge. Now, he did get permission from her. It was back when they were friends. He got permission to borrow an item of clothing. The manager was in prison when Dispatch actually interviewed him about this whole, Wonho case, and he confirmed the story. And he confirmed Hosuk's involvement. That's his real name. So, yeah, it's a lot, definitely, and we'll leave the article in the description if you want more details on that. But recently, we actually went to Jung Dae-eun's Instagram. And I don't know why we went there, because it's just an infuriating place. If you want to be mad, if you feel like getting angry, go to her Instagram right now. We did, and we found that she's been responding to people who have been accusing her of destroying Wonho's career. So we're going to get into that.
Her post features a picture of Bart Simpson from The Simpsons, and the caption reads, "His life was already destroyed by himself way long ago. And please shut the F up if you ain't gonna pay me back for him."
Wow.
And we know this isn't about money,
wow.
So it's just really, really despicable that she's even saying this. It's like, if he paid you the money, though, everyone's still quite certain that you would have come out with this anyways. But in another post she made, there's actually a picture of two hands forming a heart together. We assume that it's her and her girlfriend. The caption reads, "F you, Mon babies. We're having so much fun." And so the post garnered thousands of comments. To us, this is just a pathetic cry for attention. It really mocks the heartbreak of Mon baby. And it's really best not to engage with people who really thrive off the attention, this negative attention like this. They really suffer when they're completely ignored. So instead, let's use our energy to support Monsta X and support Wonho.
Okay, so there's like one thing that really stood out to us about everything that Jung Daeun's have been saying so far, especially in regard to her post about Wano's life being over way long ago. So the thing that stands out to us is that she admitted herself to using drugs. She also had her girlfriend confirm that she's driven underage. Jung Daeun's driven underage, just like Wonho, and she's also gone to prison before as well. So I mean, does she consider her own life to be over? The hypocrisy is very real. And another thing too is that if you go to her Instagram page, the only thing in her description is her SoundCloud. If you go to her SoundCloud, she's really trying to promote music right now. And it just seems very inappropriate. It's like, hey, don't listen to this guy. Let's cancel him for everything he's done in his life. Except you've done everything that he's done, basically, and you expect people to what? Check your music out and support you? It's
That's
kind of a
insanity.
joke. It is insanity. Anyway, nice marketing. Basically, Wano's life did a complete 180. Like the Wano that we all know right now is nothing like the one that his accusers describe, and it's not like he wasn't that way before. We're not sure, but even if he was, like, he went from being a self-destructive teenager to being a part of one of the highest esteemed K-pop groups in the world and being an incredibly hardworking and determined person. And like, why can't K-pop idols with problematic past be able to use those as life lessons and inspiration for others? After all, no one's perfect, and it would make our idols more relatable as well. Many people wish companies protected their idols better, and we're no exception to that. We wish that they fought unfounded allegations harder as well. Situations like this definitely inspire predators like Wano's accusers to continue doing what they're doing. They're just going to go after the next group now, because they were not punished and they actually got what they wanted. So there's no reason to stop doing this and harming idols. It feels like if it continues in this way, the K-pop industry could definitely collapse in on itself with no good idols left, right?
No one's perfect, so it's impossible for everybody to be safe. Somebody's done some mistake that someone else was witness to in their life. So if it continues this way, I'm not sure how this industry is going to look either.
I think they need to throw away the whole like these people are perfect sort of thing.
It's too hard. It's too high of a goal to. It's something definitely you can aspire to, but it's very hard to embody. Nobody's perfect. These people are human. I don't care if a lot of people don't want to see them in a certain way afterwards. It's just like you have no choice but to see somebody as what they are. They're a human being.
Thank you.
So you can uplift them to God status if you want to, but it doesn't change the reality that this person is a human being.
Guys, share your thoughts too. Let us know what you think. But we're gonna get into conspiracies. Conspiracy time. Conspiracy time.
Put on your tinfoil hat. So one of the most common conspiracies that are circulating this situation is that Jung Dae-eun's girlfriend Han So-hee, a former YG Entertainment trainee, was Wonho's original marijuana supplier. And this makes sense since she's not new to drug scandals in general. In 2016, Han So-hee was in contact with iKON's B.I. She openly admitted to the police that she purchased and delivered drugs to B.I., and we all know that his contract with YG was terminated as a result. Later in 2016, Han So-hee did drugs with Big Bang's T.O.P. at least 3 times. YG actually sent her far away to the U.S. for 3 months so that it would keep her involvement with T.O.P.'s drug case hidden. T.O.P. was publicly shamed for this drug use, and even today he still undergoes some fire from anti-fans about this as well. In March 2017, after returning to Korea, Han So-hee was arrested for using marijuana and also LSD. So she never stopped her drug stint. Her involvement with infamous K-pop drug scandals over the past few years and her questionable appearance in Wonho's drug scandal leads a lot of people to think that she may have been the person who supplied him with marijuana in the first place.
Han So-hee also shared screenshots of a message from a man who alleged that his wife cheated on him with Shownu. She claims Starship Entertainment tried to cover it up, and while the alleged affair did seem to take place, Shownu was not aware at the time that the woman was even married. But just the way that Han So-hee spun the story, it's clear that she was actively trying to tarnish Shownu, his company, and Monsta X's reputation. When that didn't work, she and Jung Daeun focused on Wonho, and that worked. So it's not a stretch to assume that she has some sort of maybe a grudge with the company or its artists, or both, and she's using Jung Daeun's past with Wonho to help her achieve her goals. Do you think that could be the case? Maybe. Okay, so the next conspiracy theory that we want to talk about is this one. Fans are speculating and questioning whether the government is using Wonho as a cover-up for the new Seawall Ferry videos. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name of the ferry, guys. Please don't come for me in the comments. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with the Seawall Ferry incident, here's a quick breakdown. So in 2014, a ferry carrying 476 people sank. Most of these people actually were students. And as it was sinking, helicopters came to the scene, and instead of actually rescuing the trapped children, the first thing that they did was they saved the ship's captain and other crew members. At least 304 people ended up perishing, most of them, of course, being the students who were trapped. Now, how does this connect to Wonho's situation? Recently, a new video was discovered. This is so recent. A new video was discovered from the ferry incident that shows a rescued student who is still alive being sent to the hospital on a patrol boat, even though there were three helicopters on the scene that could have taken the student there in 20 minutes. Instead, the boy was transferred from one boat to the next 5 times before finally reaching the hospital 4.5 hours later, and of course by that time he had already passed away. Reports state that the reason the helicopters didn't take him was because they were too busy taking high-ranking police officers back to land. Some fans are speculating that Wonho's news story was blown up kind of out of proportion, because remember, not even Woojin from Stray Kids' story blew up in this way. So they blew it out of proportion so much because the South Korean government is trying to distract from the ferry video to avoid the public's outrage and criticism for failing Korean youth and just Korean society in general. There definitely seems to be something to this story.
Also, remember how Seungri of Big Bang was all over the news for his scandals? But when investigators kept digging, they discovered that he was not alone. He was a part of a large prostitution ring that spanned not only to the Burning Sun Club and South Korean businessmen, but also across Asia, involving Japanese and Taiwanese investors and even a Singapore heiress. So that's seriously messed up. It's alarming, and the public deserves to understand more about these people and their roles. But who did the media focus on and defame? The K-pop idol from Big Bang, Seungri.
He was the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, basically. So what are the roles of K-pop idols in the industry, really?
So K-pop idols are entertainers first and foremost. But of course, they're sometimes used as brand ambassadors to help grow businesses, and more recently, they've even been tourism promoters, bringing people to Korea to see their shows and also to shop and stuff like that. So they definitely make people money. And that's why South Korea supports the industry so much. But it cannot be denied that K-pop idols are used and exploited in many ways. Could we be possibly overlooking one of the more sinister purposes they were created for? Maybe K-pop idols were created to be scapegoats and distractions for covering up the unsavory actions of businesses, criminal organizations, and the government. Could it be that people like Han So-hee are even maybe created by the industry itself, an industry plant, so to speak, in order to blackmail idols whenever it's convenient? You know, dropping news stories whenever they need a nice diversion for their own behavior?
You know, this is something that I wouldn't be surprised of, because even over here in Canada, and this is pretty funny, so whenever we have some story that bleeds over from the U.S., because we are very tuned in and clicked into U.S. politics, they are a neighbor, and sometimes it seems like we know more about U.S. politics than our own. But I think that this is sometimes by design. Sometimes we focus in on what Donald Trump is doing or what, big story is going on over in the U.S. And under the radar, you have laws and policies being kind of placed under the table,
quietly passed.
Yeah, quietly passed, and so this is something. Maybe this is just the cynic in us speaking here, but this is something that I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe even not what they were created to do by inception, but definitely it's an opportunity that is taken a lot of the time to distract from other goings on within whatever sphere, whether it be political, a tragedy like the ferry incident, or otherwise.
Yeah, that was a nice actually example. That's true. If you guys have any other conspiracies you want to drop in the comments, definitely do so. This has been our update for the whole Wonho situation. Basically who his accusers are. And notice how the two of them have been to prison. But yet they came for him and his career. That is so unfair.
It's really interesting because sometimes, like over here, and you'll have people like, sorry to relate to the Tekashi 6ix9ine situation and stuff like that. Like sometimes when these people get out of prison, they'll get a shorter sentence when they're told to. After that point, they're told to work for whoever, the police, or cooperate with whoever to be able to get dirt on other people. So this could be one of those kinds of situations as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're just going to wrap this video up now before it gets any longer, but let us know if you do like this style of longer videos, and also, this was the update we promised you guys, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope we didn't miss anything. If we did, let us know, and we'll continue to watch this news story, and I hope that the year just kind of ends off happier, tired of people having to be forced out of their groups or leave their groups. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with anyone that you think it could be useful for.
Until then, we'll see you next time, guys.